byproducts that come out of it is actually your material benefit. So the thing is, our goal, when we are trying to approach for devotional service, it should be only to attain spiritual elevation. That should be our goal. And when we talk about spiritual benefits, the most important thing is it makes our path to attain or go back to Godhead. It kind of reduces the amount of time that takes for a single individual to get back to the Godhead. That's one advantage. Another thing is you will be associated with your real self than with this kind of temporary image of our own self. So that's one huge benefit of our devotional service. And on a material plane, I would say there will be so many benefits which we might not realize. Just to quote you an example, I remember last year, I believe, or before year, while I was in Detroit, on one Ekadashi, I did fasting. A couple of days before the Ekadashi, I was having severe acid reflexes which were happening. And I remember on that day, a lot of people recommended me not to go for a fasting because my situation was not good. But I thought, okay, let's do it. This is I don't know, I think it was some special Ekadashi. So then I did fasting for the whole day. Probably I didn't break it in a right way. So the next day it turned so bad that I couldn't I couldn't really take anything. Whatever I was taking in, I was throwing up because of severe acid reflexes. So that I went to the doctor and he said oh, I think you have to change your diet for the next 2 months because I think things are not really good and it takes time for you to settle down, your stomach to come back to normalcy. So I remember I asked one of the Prabhujis back in Detroit temple that, Prabhuji, I don't understand why a lot of people told me not to do, because I can understand their perspective that they don't want my health to kind of fall back bad. So then Prabhuji was suggesting me that the result of you doing fasting on an Ekadasi, despite of whatever be your situation, physically, mentally or spiritually, he said that you might have had a really severe health issue which might be coming in future, but because of the result of Ekadashi's thing that you have done, it got reduced in such a way that it could take only 2 months for you to recover back. So his explanation was like, hey, don't ever think that maybe because of doing on Ekadashi you have deteriorated more, or I shouldn't have done that or something don't never ever think in that way. It's maybe because there could have been something severe but it got reduced and it got in a much simpler way. So that's while quoting a material benefit, I would say that as an example, while you're spiritually inclined and going highly devotional, then there is a probability that when you think that you are off track in your life, probably you will come back on track. That's one byproduct. I think that's enough, I believe.
Jai, very nice. Thank you.
Sorry, Prabhu? Oh, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I heard your Kirtan, it was amazing. I loved it. Seriously.
YouTube. Oh, YouTube?
Yes. It was amazing.
Prabhu puts every week.
I really loved it. Seriously.
That's so you
I was
sometime I can, sometime
I remember, I think the next 3 days, every day night before I was before I went to bed.
Yeah.
I just rolled the camera. I didn't even really realize that I had turned on the.
Prabhuji was saying, right, service. That is a very important aspect to serve, and on top of the devotional service makes it complete. So we read and we try to discuss among ourselves.
spiritual evaluation. The foundation of all spiritual knowledge is the understanding that we are not this body, but the eternal spirit soul. Soul is the life force that activates the body. The Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, text 13 explains, as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. How does the soul passes into another body? What type of body does the soul pass into? How is the next bodily form decided? Padma Purana describes there are 9 lakh species of aquatic life, 2 million species of plants and trees, 1.1 million species of insects, 1 million species of bird life, 3 million species of bees, and 4 lakh species of human life.
So, in this paragraph, said that soul continuously passes from, even in this body, in this lifetime, the soul is continuously passing from small boy to adult, to old age, and then what happens? Right? So that could be a big question. What happens to the soul when it old age? So it's saying that similarly passes into another body at death. And I think later on also he says one more verse, like we change our dresses, like when our dress gets old, we use new dresses, right? So similarly, when the body gets worn out, it gets a new body. And these are some of the important questions. Right? How does the soul pass into another body? What type of body does the soul pass into? Right? What type of body does the soul pass into? This we would like to know, right? What type of body? Because so in next life, we would not like to suffer. Definitely, we would like to be peaceful, be happy. Right? Yeah. Otherwise, so here, as we discussed, right, devotional service helps us to understand our life doesn't end here. We have our next life also. On and on, it goes on. Because if there is no next life, then we can do whatever we want, right? In this life. We can be as violent as possible or be as good as possible. So there are laws that affect us based on our activities. So how is the next bodily form decided? So these are some of the important questions that I think in next few verses we get some answers. But this is where the Gita starts actually from, because now if you see in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna becomes compassionate. He sees his teacher Dronacharya, he sees Bhishma, and he sees all his cousins on the other side. Now he becomes very compassionate. He called Krishna from Dwaraka to come to be his chariot driver. Now he's changing his mind that he doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want to fight. So here, now it is the Kshatriya's duty to fight. Whenever, now he has not sought the war, like Arjuna has not declared, because of Duryodhana, right? All this war came into picture and they tried all the peace ways. Right? They could not come to this war. Even Krishna goes to Hastinapur and asks for 5 villages. So that because they are Kshatriyas, their duty is to rule. So if he doesn't agree even to give small piece of land also. So now they have no choice. So
Hare Krishna.
So now, Arjuna, the war came unsought. He didn't sought. He didn't go after that. He wanted war. And now Drona and Bhishma are there on the other side, because now Bhishma has this has taken that vow that he will protect whoever is there on the Hastinapur throne. So like that he has to be on the other side. Now he becomes compassionate on the bodily platform. And now Krishna empowers Arjuna that don't worry, they have done good deeds, they will get a better body in next life. Anyway, if Arjuna is not going to do anything, anyway, due to old age, they have to evolve, they have to get some other body in next life. So like that he starts saying that we are not this body. This is a very powerful statement. It becomes very difficult for us to understand. But as we build on this knowledge, it becomes a little bit clear. Sometimes what happens is, you may think somebody has done wrong to me, right? So we become egoistic or like that. So this statement may help. It will subside our negative effects. So now you can go to the next.
Hence, there are 8.4 million species of life formed throughout the creation. The meaning of species understood by biologists is different from the meaning implied here. The meaning used by biologists applies to the gross physical appearance or the gross morphological feature of the living material bodies. The Vedic meaning, however, which is derived after through and careful analysis, is based on the level of consciousness of the living being. For example, biologists say that all human beings belong to one species, whereas the Vedic literature lists 4 lakh species of human beings. In other words, there are 4 lakh grades of human beings on different level of consciousness, from most degraded human beings to highly elaborate demigods and pure devotees.
This paragraph answers my question. It says 400,000 species of human life, right? So I think it is depending on consciousness. There are forgot exactly. There are, I think, above Earth there are 7 lokas, right?
Yeah.
7? Yeah. And highest is Satyaloka. That's where Brahmaji is. And below that also there are other lokas. There are a lot of different.
No, that's below.
Below. No, above.
Swargaloka, Tapaloka, Maharloka.
Yeah.
Yeah, Janaloka.
So there are lokas like that till Satyaloka. And there are different highly elevated human beings who live there. So based on our consciousness, right, the most degraded human being to highly evolved demigods and pure devotees. So you may think, right, why there are so many types of beings, and what makes one get this particular body, like plants, trees or plants or aquatic life, birds, insects. We all believe, right? If anything is moving, we can say it has a soul. Because that soul, if you see matter, it's inanimate, it doesn't move. If you say cell phone, right? It doesn't move. So even our body, the soul is giving that consciousness to our body, Chetana. It is giving that consciousness. Even if you see that heart, right, it is beating so much with that, it needs lot of power. It needs lot of power to pump that blood. So heart is getting that power from the soul. So that's why the entire body, we feel that consciousness and our body is. So once the soul leaves the body, then we can say, right, a person is there, but we say he's dead.
Of the combinations and permutations of these three modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the life forms are just like temporary houses or apartments of various sizes, shapes, and colors in which the eternal self or the living being temporarily resides. One may occupy one of these apartments according to one's ability to pay the rent, but all types of apartments nevertheless exist simultaneously. Similarly, the soul, according to his karma, is given the facility to occupy one of these bodily forms, but all the forms exist simultaneously. Therefore, the body does not evolve, the soul evolves by paying the price of karma.
Want to say something?
Yeah, I like the analogy about the house and paying the rent. Our ability to pay the rent. Only that kind of house we can buy or rent. Similarly, based on our consciousness only and our past karma only, we'll get that kind of a body. So even in human beings, we see there are so many gradations. I can give an example, like there are tribal people who live in the forest and they kill other human beings, or they live in a very not so conducive environment for devotional service. They might have had a previous birth. They are in the evolution process from an animal life or something like that, or they fell down from a better platform due to wrong choices. So we can see even in human beings there are gradations, and when we preach to others, we can come to know that some people are not so receptive because their ability is somehow limited at that point in time, or because of their background. So that way we can see like not everyone is equal, even though we have the human body, but the consciousness is different, and that's what matters actually, the level of consciousness or the stage of our understanding. I think that's about it. Somebody wants to add anything? We can read.
We read, right, about karma last time. We read about karma. You want to come highlight summary on karma?
Like there are three types, like punya karma and vikarma and akarma. So we know only the two karmas, like punya and akarma, vikarma. But akarma is the spiritual thing, so by which the spiritual thing, so we can go back to Godhead. So most of the people they don't know about the akarma, we know only the punya and the vikarma. I used to know last week that we have a murti akarma.
So Krishna says in Gita that you do your duty as an offering to me, so that now we are not entangled. What happens is, when we kill even plants, even rice, seed has life in it. So we are consuming. Right? So to nullify that effect, what we can do is we can offer it. Anyway we have to eat something to survive. Okay, so that those are lowest form of beings. So what we do is we cook, we can offer. So when we offer it, now Krishna will take away that karma from it. So it will be an akarma platform. So no positive, no negative reactions from that karma. So once we start working on this akarma platform, then things become more and more clear, and then you can definitely make further progress on devotional path. And we were discussing that time, right? How to work without expecting any results. So we were discussing a lot about this karma last week. So this is an important topic, karma, understanding which we decide what type of body we will get in next life. So we'll definitely make sure that at least we don't do vikarma, at least we come, instead of negative, we come to positive. And then from positive we can definitely understand akarma. Yeah, Prabhu.
Oh. In the material world, the soul has two kinds of coverings, the subtle body and the gross body. Actually, the soul enjoys through the subtle body, which is composed of mind, intelligence, and false ego. The gross body is the instrumental outer covering. When the gross body is lost, or when it dies, the root of the gross body, the mind, intelligence, and false ego, continues and brings about another gross body. Although the gross bodies change, the real root of the gross body, the subtle body, is always there. The subtle body's activities, be they pious or impious, create another situation for the soul to enjoy or suffer in the next gross body. Thus, the subtle body continues, whereas the gross bodies change one after another.
So this is the top concept is evolving, right? So first of all, it was saying we are not this body, we are the soul. We pass from one body to another body, and then it is evolved to different kind of species that exist on the planet. And then you see, it was saying the permutations and combinations of three modes of material nature and karma, how we get a different body. And then what is happening is, now it says that the body has two coverings, right? One is gross, which we see, and there are subtle coverings, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Those things we can't see, but we can see their impacts, like willing, thinking, willing, and feeling. That's what the mind does. Right? So when we leave this body, along with the soul, these subtle coverings go along with the soul. So that's why when we get another gross body, some people have certain phobias, right? When they are born, they have certain phobias, and already, you see, they have mentally strong about some ideas. Some kids, they are very quiet. Some kids, they are very naughty. So when they are naughty now, they will be quiet later. So like that we understand, right? Some people have very pleasant. Nathan Prabhu, he comes from St. Petersburg. You see, they look at him, he will be very pleasant, like very pleasant face he will have. Like that. Some people have default mode of goodness, and some people, they first overreact. You might have not even completed the sentence, they'll assume and they'll start reacting. Some people, they digest it and then slowly they will give answer. Right? So we see many different kind of people. Even if you have projects, we see our projects, there are 10 people, we understand. So this helps us to understand why there are so many variations and where these variations are coming from.
Actually, I was having a little discussion with my supervisor. He is from a Christian background, and he was saying that he accepted, we can reincarnate because the Christian Bible does not support reincarnation, but somehow we came to a point that he accepted reincarnation. But then he was not ready to accept that the fact that we can remember our past life also. There is a possibility. He said the body dies, the memory dies, everything dies with it. There is no way we can remember it. The soul can still enter another body, but we cannot remember because the brain is dead. So then I explained to him about this subtle body thing. Many people don't know that there is also a subtle body and it's a covering of the soul. And so when we reincarnate, the soul goes along with the subtle body in another. It's like Sthula Sharir and Sukshma Sharir. You know about that, I guess. So the subtle body comprises of mind, intelligence, and false ego. Intelligence and false ego. So all these impressions are stored in the mind, and that's what carries on to the next life. And as long as we have attachments, the material mind, the material intelligence and the false ego will always be there with us, with the soul, to go into another body. Otherwise, if the soul goes, it's already free. Why does it need to go? Another body is already liberated. There's something which is keeping it binding, so it's the subtle body factor. I think.
So the false ego is actually, can you describe in a
False ego, actually, the soul has 8 coverings. The 5 coverings are of the gross body, earth, water, fire, air, ether. And then the 3 coverings are of the subtle body, mind, intelligence, ego. And each covering starting from earth to all the way to false ego. Earth is the smallest size of covering, then false ego is the biggest. And each covering is 10 times bigger than the inner one. So false ego is considered the biggest covering because that's the first thing we get when we come to the material world. That is the last thing that leaves when we go out from the material world, and that's the thing which makes us think we are the body. And the real ego is that I am the servant of the Lord. Even in spirituality, we are supposed to have ego. Ego means a conception of a self. That's the definition of ego.
Right.
False ego or conception of self is that I am the body, and the real ego or conception of self is that I am the spirit soul servant of the Lord. So, yeah, that's the distinction, I think.
As long as this day and age, we don't want authority. Okay? We don't want somebody telling you to do this.
Yeah.
Do this.
That's right.
Yeah. So we get here in spirituality, they say is we are the servant of the Lord. Our position is to He is Paramatma, we are Atma. We have to be subservient to Him. So that when we do in that position, then information flows from high level to low level. Otherwise, if you think probably then the interpret, if you are at the same level, then the information doesn't flow. Anybody would like to add anything? Then?
The process of transmigration of the soul is very subtle. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, text 6. According to the condition of the mind at the time of death, the minute soul enters into the womb of a particular mother through the semen of a father, and then the soul develops a particular type of body. He may get the body of a human being, a cat, a dog, or any other species, depending on all these factors. After death, the living being gets another body according to his desires, total impression on the mind, and his karmic reactions. So at the time of death, the living entity, under supervision of higher authorities, is taken to another gross body. The process is just like air carrying fragments. Bhagavad Gita 15.8. This is basically the mechanism of reincarnation. There are, is that continuation? Or?
Yeah.
The continuation? There are 8.4 million species for the soul to choose from. Think of any desire. If someone likes to sleep a lot, the material nature will give him a polar bear's body so that he can sleep for 6 months in a year without being ridiculed. If someone delights in eating flesh, nature may award him the body of a tiger.
Somebody wants to say something? Want to say something, Paripur?
I think there's, definitely substance to this. I recollect at one point, I think it was Prabhupada that said, Jawaharlal Nehru, Jawaharlal Nehru, right? Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. He was known for some of his bad habits, in his personal life. So at one point somebody asked Prabhupada, like, what will happen to this guy? And Prabhupada said he knows that he was a dog in Sweden. He was born as a dog in Switzerland. somebody's dog, so he knows that he actually was born as a dog in Switzerland because of the qualities that he had when he was living. And Prabhupada had that vision. He knew what was going on, and he said he was actually born in Switzerland as a dog, and he's still living there. So, that's something I remember. So there are, many people are talking about it. Even the Western society is now awakening to this thing. There is this wonderful book by somebody called Brian Weiss. I think Brian Weiss, I don't know about the title of the book. He's a psychologist professor in Miami, and he's of a Jewish religion, but he has talked a lot about the rebirth and all that stuff. He has gone into Bhagavad Gita and all the Hindu concepts, and he has written and he has done a lot of research, regression, past life. There has been a lot of discoveries, like kids and all that found that they talk about their previous life. And there have been some examples, even in India. So I totally, I think that so we have a lot of evidence at this time for considering this.
Yeah.
So, whatever state one remembers and he thinks his body, that state he will attain without fail. I think in olden days, recently also, they try to chant, right, some mantra in the ear of the person who is passing, and then put tulsi water also.
Ganga.
Ganga water, tulsi water. Ganga water is not available.
Yeah.
So they will put tulsi water, right? So they will not try to cry so that the person will be sad.
Yeah.
Right? So like that, now it is a different story, but they will do all those kind of stuff. So it is important that that's why the spiritual evolution, right, is the topic. We have to evolve so that our consciousness improves, so that we think about higher things instead of lower things. We can think about higher things. So this concept is actually is a summary about a lot of chapters in Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, first 5-6 chapters is a summary about.
I would like to add one point,
Yeah.
if we have time. But so many people might think that, okay, whatever state one remembers when he quits his body, then I need not worry, I'll just remember Krishna when I'm dying. Now let me enjoy. But that won't happen, and it's said that at the time of death, all the whole life you lived, it comes as a video in front of your eye, and whatever you are attached to most, it frames in your consciousness, and that's what you remember. But also it said if you pull the card of Lord Jagannath, then the video will stop when the Jagannath Rath Yatra is going, and that's what you will remember. So I'm just looking forward for Rath Yatra coming up.
Lower forms of life, such as plants, animals, robots, birds, do not suffer from sinful activities because they never violate the laws of nature. A tiger, for instance, does not commit sinful activity by killing its prey because his body is made to act in that way. It is properly equipped for that purpose. Karma, which determines the path one takes through various species or to other human bodies, is acquired only in the human form of life. The soul uses up its accumulated karma as he passes through the non-human spaces. Thus we can understand how the human form of life is like a crossroad where one has to clearly decide which road to take, the path to heaven, the path to hell, or the path to God.
Want to add something?
So, path to hell, path to heaven, path to God. So, from childhood I have been, told that if you go to heaven, you will see God. If you go to hell, you will see devils. So what's the difference between path to heaven and path to God?
Heaven. Heaven is higher planets, Swargaloka, Brahmaloka, Satyaloka, higher planets. Above there, there are 7 lokas.
Right.
You go
You
there.
can see God, you can see their God. is the high level, but
Demigods. Okay.
You may live longer, like maybe you live 10,000 years,
Okay.
and the facilities are much
better
better
than
than here.
Okay.
Even. Like we say, if somebody is living in a big palace, right? So
Right.
like we thought America could be. Here we come, we earn, we pay our bills. If we don't be careful, we don't live with our mentality, we will have debt also. So, we have to be careful. Yeah.
Originally, the soul is fully conscious of its spiritual identity, but when the soul desires to enjoy this material world, it falls down from the spiritual platform. First, the soul accepts a body that is human in form, but gradually, due to his degraded activities, he transmigrates into lower form of life, into the animal, plant, and aquatic forms. By the gradual process of spiritual evolution, the living entity again attains the body of human being and is given another chance to get out of the process of transmigration. If he again misses his chance in the human form to understand his position, he is again placed in the repeated cycle of birth and death in various types of bodies.
Wow.
Yeah. It's everything is in this.
It is trying to open our eyes. Right?
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Be in the loop or you want to exit.
yes. So it is trying to open eyes.
Actually, in the last paragraph that Saujanya Mataji read, in that I think one of the concepts we understood last week, right? That animals don't have this law of karma.
Yeah.
Because they are given a specific body, they have to do that. They don't get any law of karma. They evolve from that animal to next higher animal. But whereas human being can think, we have much higher intelligence. Then what summarize that?
Yeah, actually, I was going to add that animals, we never see animals transgressing the laws of nature. We never see, tiger becoming vegetarian, elephant becoming non-vegetarian. Of course, now they feed cows all kind of rubbish things, but naturally their instincts are according to laws of nature. But humans, because they are misdirected, we can break the laws of nature also. So that's why spiritual knowledge is required for us to able to distinguish between.
Spiritual knowledge, because they can't, right? They can't like substance.
Yeah.
So basically, the animals, they don't have a subtle body. Do they have
They
mind?
don't
They
have
have.
consciousness.
They have.
Like the mind, intelligence.
Subtle body is always there. Why not? Because if it is not subtle body, then what? The next life, what?
Right. So in that case,
Subtle body is always there, in different way.
Now they are caged in a different bodies, right? Now
They
are-
got that body because the impressions on their subtle body were like that.
So they will be carried forward to the next form of life, right? Like if they're changing a body. So in that case, the scope of them, like for example, if they have a false ego, animals cannot have a false ego, right? Can they?
Sometimes, the animal.
All living
We
entities.
have seen in cases, right? Even in I think in animals also, dogs also, you can see some dogs always barking, some dogs are better. So based on, I think, their karma, they can get a better animal status or a degraded animal status.
So this means that they can experience the results of their karma, but they cannot accumulate karma while they are in the bodies of animals. Is that correct?
And then they will evolve naturally. They cannot directly jump unless somebody feeds them prasadam.
They can still
They
accumulate
also
karma.
might get some karma.
Yeah, they can
They
still
can
accumulate
still
karma.
get karma.
No.
They might bite us, right? That is one.
See, that is what I am trying to understand, because
maybe it's our karma.
Yeah.
We have our bad karma now. It's happening
so
to us.
yeah, one person's good karma could be other person's bad.
In general sense, they don't get it. But it's exceptional case.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the other way, because of karma it is biting us, but it is getting some karma because of doing that activity.
It's just defending itself. I mean, if we try to do some harm, because of its nature, the mode of nature it is situated in, it's inclined that way, but it does not get the karma because it does not have the discrimination. So it's just like if you don't have the ability, why should you accumulate more karma? So you don't have the discrimination power. But only humans, I think, have that.
Somebody is asking a question. What will happen to the dog's karma? Right? Maybe because of our karma we get bite.
True.
Nature
No,
is
that's,
like that.
that is very true what you said, yeah. I think so.
That's what actually I think summary of. See, if somebody is hurting us, that means unnecessarily they are not doing that. It's because of our karma only that somebody is being bad to us.
It's a reflection of what is in us.
Mirror what we did in past or something. So,
Adhyatmic
Sometimes
life.
it's not our karma too, because it's nature. Sometimes we get problem because nature, like what would you call in English? Earthquake, or
we read right last week.
Yeah.
So
It is collective karma.
yeah, so many people die. So
Right.
something
It is a
happen.
collective karma.
Fire in the jungle.
Right.
So that's nature. We involve in so.
But even nature also, Prabhu, that is, as we read last week, it is part of the collective karma.
Yeah.
If everyone is doing that, instead of taking one by one,
But even some people doesn't, but they get a problem. They get the result.
That's why Krishna
So
defines.
it's not only karma, our karma. That's not my focus.
So some people may say they may be involved, they'll get better life. Maybe they'll evolve for better. Yeah, actually Krishna says in Gita this is very difficult because you can't make note of everything, right? Or what's happening in Chitragupta, like that. You can't make note of everything. It's very difficult.
So even if I read this one point somewhere that even if a person has zero karma, still the threefold klesh will act, the Adhyatmic, Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik. Adhyatmic means miseries caused by other living beings. Adi Daivik means miseries caused by demigods or the natural calamities, and Adi Bhautik, miseries caused by our own mind and body. Even if we have zero karma, still these three will always be there because we are in material world. So.
And just wanted to add, the title of the Dr. Brian Weiss book is Many Lives, Many Masters. Many Lives, Many Masters.
and also Swaminatha Prabhu, used to give the example of a scientist, right? He made, Stephen.
Something similar in astrology.
Exactly, yeah. He made so many live interviews. He did so much of research, and he concluded that.
Ian Stevenson. Yeah.
And I remember one more thing about the why death, what you remember. I think Yudhishthira, right? Or Yudhishthira, he was remembering deer, right? Bharat Maharaj. So, even
Jadabharat.
Jadabharat, yeah.
Right.
And then what he becomes after Jadabharat?
He again becomes a human being because
Yeah.
Jadabharat is human being.
Yeah.
And then he goes back.
He becomes a deer.
Becomes
Right?
deer and then Jadabharat.
Then Jadabharat.
Yeah, Bharat becomes deer, then Jadabharat.
In that life he will be very cautious. He is a very intelligent person, but he becomes very cautious.
Yeah.
Okay, so read the next one.
And then here, see, Prabhu. So we may
Like,
think.
think it's he's not making something wrong. Although he got a deer life, he has not bad karma, but his desire make his to go to deer. Right? So there was not bad karma, but his desire making his to
Yeah.
bad life.
Yeah. Attachment to the deer form.
So here one important point is how do we get this material body? That you may think, how do you get this material body? It says here, right? The soul is full conscious of its spiritual identity, but when the soul desires to enjoy the material world, like sometimes, right, we also feel this is very nice, I want this.
Some people say, I like to fly. and if someone has enough luck, he can be fly.
So like that we have our desires.
Desires make changes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Next paragraph. You.
The living entity falls from the human body to the animal kingdom, owing to bad karma and animalistic propensity. After he has worked off his karma in the non-human species, eventually he returns to the human platform, where he gets a new opportunity to brave out a new destiny. While the living entity is the animal body, he lost the opportunity to make spiritual progress. Only the human form of life can one choose to perform spiritual activities like chant the Hare Krishna mantra and make tangible spiritual advancement on the progressive march back to Godhead. On the other hand, living entities in non-human bodies are forced to act only by instinct till they get a human body. The human form of life is especially meant to facilitate the liberation of conditioned souls. Therefore, one who abuses human life by engaging in sense gratification lost his opportunity to get out of this samsara, the cycle of birth and death.
So here it says right, that human life, now we have a choice.
We can
Elevate or degrade.
degrade.
I was hearing about Korea, South Korea and North Korea. They made their own choices. North Korea is very military oriented and they don't want development. They suppress people and like they're doing this nuclear thing, right? See, and whereas South Korea, their choice, they make a lot of advancement. The per capita income is very high. The population is high also. Like that, now those countries made the choices. They want to be diplomatic, military based, one want to be free, want economic development. Like we also now we have the choice what to do. So we can sow the right seed and then get that right fruit. So the living beings are suffering due to our forgetfulness of Krishna and the blissful situation of his abode. If we take shelter of Krishna as a protector and take advantage of his instructions, we can easily revive our eternal blissful nature as parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is for this purpose that Krishna has created human life. So now, giving us the conclusion that this, it is there. It is not that it is new, love for God or love for Krishna. The thing is we have to revive it. Like if you see the kid, right, they automatically grow. Or put the plant, you put a seed in the ground, water it, it will automatically grow. And similarly, we have that Krishna consciousness or God consciousness within us. Only thing is you have to evolve it, water it, take care of it so that now that it will increase.
We can escape the cycle of repeated birth and death by reviving our eternal loving relationship with Krishna and return back to our original constitutional position. This can be easily achieved by regularly chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in the association of like-minded devotees. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this
here one thing I did not understand, like people say like if if you don't do good, you will not get next birth or something, right? But here, to escape the next cycle, repeated births, we need to pray God. It's totally different. No, like everybody say like if you
Do something good,
then only you will get the next birth.
Yeah.
So, but as per this paragraph or statement, if you want to escape from the next birth, we need to go close to the Tampa. We need to chant the mantra. So both the words are.
Whatever we do,
So what's happening is good. What you're saying is we have to do good, right? To get. So we are accumulating good karma, right? So that definitely we can come back to human life and enjoy that balance what we have. But if you see in the general any context, when you come back here, you have some kind of suffering also.
I understand your point. The point is, whatever you do good, you get a heaven. You cannot stop the birth. But if you do chanting, you stop the birth and you go to the Godhead. So the good activities get to the heaven, not get to the Godhead. That's the point. So good karma, get a good, but stop the birth, you have to chanting, get the Godhead directly. No any other activity.
So you go to Vaikuntha, where there are no anxieties.
So if we go to God's place, we will not have a next birth.
No, stop.
Krishna says that the one who attains this eternal abode never returns to the material world. So,
yeah, devotional services doesn't come under good karma and bad karma. So devotional service is karma, which is directly go to the God. If you do good karma, then Sargaloka. If you do bad karma, Narkaloka. But if you put
it means like if we go to Svargaloka or something, again we will burn as.
It's like a journey.
You should
15 days live journey. it's comparison like that.
Yeah.
You got a 2-week journey, that's it. So you got a Swarga, that's what? You not get a God. You just get the facilities better than over here.
and then the good karma, your account is over, you have to come back again on
Again, yes. The account finished, zero money, go back.
First we don't want any balance, so that we can go to the Lord, go to Vaikuntha, where there are no anxieties. Even if you come back here, on the earth, you are born as a rich person. Still you have a lot of anxiety. You have to go through this. Even our own body is this trouble, as Prabhuji was saying. Right there in spiritual world, you will do some kind of service, or some relationship with the Lord, and it will be eternal. There is no time.
In fact, it said that the sun and moon serve Krishna. In one palace there is day, another palace there is night, according to how he wants. So it's like that.
So like that, we established, we have some
discussed
taste.
last week, we discussed about that, your point.
I missed that.
Yeah, you missed that.
These are very important. Yeah, like,
additions in our lifestyle can help us make the best use of this human life.
I think this answer should be
Everyone. Okay, we need to summarize in 1 minute per person because we have to eat prasad also.
Yes, so it is, right?
Yes. If you go to spiritual way, yes. Or if you want to materially means no.
No, but it says, do you think we are making the best? So are you making the best use of your
I'm
life?
trying to.
Okay. How?
Like doing this spiritual devotional service.
Okay.
Chanting and trying to
Yeah.
make my life happy.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to change, our lifestyle, like knowing knowledge or knowing Bhagavad Gita,
Okay.
and more attached to Krishna. Then we can progress and we can use our life.
Saujanya Mataji, your turn.
So, in my case, it's like it's not like completely yes or completely no. It's like now I'm trying to make the best use of human life by chanting Hare Krishna and converting it actually. Telling about the spiritual life to the people who actually don't know, and make them also aware of it. Let them also be like, at least make a part of their life to change. And like I need to improve more by knowing some great things about God Krishna, and whatever I know, I want to make others know, who make them know, who really don't know what the human life is for, and what we need to do and what we need to change.
Same thing like chanting or reading Bhagavad Gita.
Or? Yeah, devotional service. Thank you. Anybody would like to add any special points on this last one?
I think I would like to add something. One huge challenge, like irrespective of whether you decide, you want to get into, you want to be spiritually inclined or materially inclined, whatever the decision that you take, especially when it comes to thinking about spiritually inclined or trying to make progress in your devotional life, I think one of the biggest challenges or impediments is that, at least what I observed, is that if there is no association, proper association, there is a very high chance that no matter to what extent you go in your devotional service, you can easily fall down without the association of the devotees, for sure. Hare